just a little bit early. So I can get my everything to kind of catch up on my screens. There we go. All right. There we go. Okay, I turned my tablet down here. Hope everyone's had a great Christmas. I'm going to pull up my phone here quick so I can see the chat. Hi, Tia. How are you? Ooh, now I got to turn my phone off. Oh, we'll put that on mute. Okay. All right. Tonight I am going to play with the die of the month, which is the Welcome Winter cutting die. I miss you too, Tia. I hope you had a good Christmas. This is the die of the month from December. Hi, Joanne. How are you? Did it get to above 60 down by you today? I like to store my dies, the little pieces on a magnet and then in a pocket inside because I don't want to lose any because I love them. And I did die cut out in advance tonight, so you won't have to watch me die cutting, but I would like to put that, I'm going to put that away. Just wanted to show it to you. We're going to use the Wallpaper Mixed Media stencil, and that is the first thing we're going to use tonight because I want to get that drying because I did not pre-prep that. So I just have a piece of, this is a heavier weight, I think it might be 110-pound cardstock on my stick and stamp mat. And this is the Wallpaper Mixed Media stencil. I know it came out this month. I don't remember if this is the stencil of the month or not. But I do know that it was the one that came out this month. And then I just went through quick and grabbed my chroma glaze. This is the Pearl. It's one I want to use up. I'm trying to use up my glazes that are, especially my older ones. And I thought I'd just do this. I wanted to do some white on white. So I'm just going to I just like to do a very light coating so it dries. I usually like to do mine overnight and let it dry. So hopefully we'll get it to dry in time to put it. This is going to be the front of our card. It got to 50 something today. I didn't need my coat. So it was fairly nice out today. Everything kind of melted. For as much snow as we got last week, there's most of it's melted. So it was kind of nice to have that. So and tomorrow I'm just going to work a half a day. My daughter's here from Florida, so we're going to spend some time together tomorrow before the weekend. So then I like to use, this is a Nuvo silicone spatula because the silicone spatulas tend to, if you do get your glaze and dry on it, it does kind of flake off. And then I'm going to quick wipe the top of my container here. These are the older containers. The newer containers are a little bit different. I don't know if I have one close enough that I can grab, but I think the newer ones are, yeah, like this. And then they have a piece of white plastic to help keep them from drying out. So I'm trying to use up some of my older ones to, you know, because you need to use our products, right? All right, we'll get that all cleaned up. And then I just have a warm bucket of water off to the side. So I'm gonna just roll my stick and stamp mat and pop my stencil off. Throw that in my bucket of warm water, which is, I have off camera here. And then I keep a stick and stamp mat specifically for glazes and things like that. So that if it gets on the outside, I'm not so worried about the stickiness because, you know, sometimes glitter and stuff like that can affect things like that. I do that just because I like to use lots of glazes and glitters. The Brutus Monroe glazes and glitters are fabulous. So here's the Pearl. So it's just white on white. I absolutely love this stencil for it. We're going to set that aside to dry. That is the first thing that we're going to do. And then I need to quick wipe this off. And I'm just gonna I just have a baby white and I'm done. I'm not rubbing, I'm just gently wiping this off. I do have some matte mist cleaner, but I just needed to wipe that little bit extra off here. And I don't necessarily need the matte mist cleaner unless I'm ink blending. And then I always store my stick and stamp mat with a piece of plastic over the top. It is pretty. The pearl is one of my favorites. I love all the pearl. There's the shimmer spray, the aqua pigment, and the chroma glaze pearl, and then unicorn horn, and I think fallen snow are the ones I use the most. Okay, next is kind of a last minute thought of what I wanted to do. We're gonna make a tunnel card tonight. And so I'm going to use some aqua pigment paper, and I wanted to show you, I love the aqua pigment paper from Bruce Monroe because it's not quite as thick as some, so it's easy to die cut, but it takes color beautifully. When I get papers like this is what I like to do. Pads of paper, even my stencils, I cut the top off instead of this because then it won't stick to anything. And then I can just pull things off the top. And for drawing purposes time, we're going to do we need a quick winter background. So, thank you. I was going to do chroma mists with that, but I decided instead, shake that so it's not on your camera, or give you all dizzy here. I have just some blue aqua pigments here, and I'm just going to throw it on my table. And then what I like to do to add some extra color and lighten it up. Your matness cleaner is still MIA. Hi, Lori. Joanne, did you check your purse? I promise I didn't steal it from you while you were sleeping. Well, if you can't find it when I see you in March, I'll make sure I'll give you an extra one. Sounds like home. So how was your dinner, Lori? Did you eat fast? You could have eaten while I was crafting. Nobody would have known, except me. So that was the blue aqua pigment, and this is the pearl. I love the pearl. I actually have I have 3 jars of this. It's one that I always, if I need one little extra thing, I get this. Awesome, Lori. Because it's a white, and it also can dilute. And what I want is, we want to make kind of a winter background. So I am going to spray my aqua paper just a little bit to have it spread with just some water. I'm hoping this doesn't get but I just want kind of a too saturated because we want it to dry. We only need the upper portion, so we're just going to do a little bit of that, and then we're going to set it aside to dry. And I love this. I lit under the seat in the car. That might be where it is. So I love the little wisp. This is just going to be our night background sky. So I'm going to quick spray the back with water because that's a little trick I learned to help it flatten out. And I'm going to set that aside to dry. We can get that along a little bit with our heat tool if we need to later. I put my aqua pigment paper away, but I don't like to leave any behind. So let's grab another piece. I'm just going to make some more. It's going to be where you least expect it, Joanne. That's the funny thing is you're going to find and be like, oh my gosh, there it is. All right, so I'm just going to pick up some of that extra because I don't like to leave any, and just put this aside for some other background. And then we'll wipe this up quick. Let's do some squeaky clean here. I'm using the cinnamon hearts because that is one of my favorites. It smells so good. I love the cinnamon smell. Okay, so I have all my dies cuts already done and cut out, but I wanted to show how I like to do this. So I have the die cuts. These are some of the pine leaves. Those are cut out of the aqua pigment paper. This is just an actual box that one of my orders came in. And then I just put, because it's well loved, I have a piece of paper in there. It is watercolor. Aqua pigments are watercolors. Aqua, water. So yeah, there are watercolors. that might be, it's not probably dark enough right now, but I haven't done the salt treatment in a long time. So, like right in the front of my desk, I even looked in my crafty fuel cup. It's somewhere, I promise, Joanne. It's, if somebody else came to look for it, they'd find it right away, right? So what I'm going to do is I have the Noble Fir Chroma Mist and the Leaf Green Chroma Mist. And so I just have it lined up in my box, and I just have a little bit of paper towel underneath the catch, and I'm just going to spray them. This is my favorite way to use Chroma Mist. And then I'm going to use some of the Shimmer Mist in the Pearl. And I like to shake it up sideways. I want to add just a little bit of that to that, and then I'm going to put these aside to dry. I do like to remove them from the paper towel because I think they dry faster. And I have a laminated piece of like grid paper off to my side here that I'm going to set them on, and they won't stick to. Then I can put this upside down, and what I wanted to show was how I made, when you don't have the right color, you can mix, obviously, right? I am going to do a little bit dark more. So I have two branches here because I accidentally had two pieces of paper when I was cutting them out, pigment paper. Hi, Donna, how are you? We are making a tunnel card tonight. So I don't have any, I have some brown Chroma Mist, but it was from an event that, I don't remember if it was the Create Your Own Ending event or the Staycation. And so it's not available anymore. It was retired. So to show how I made brown, green and red. So I just grabbed some green, or some red. This is the Candy Apple Red. And I sprayed it all over. And then I used the Leaf Green. And it looks very dark right now, but once it dries, it'll be better. And then, just because we're making kind of a winter card, I wanted to add a little of the shimmer splits too. But if I add a little too much, I just put a little more color over the top. And then once again, I don't know if you'll be able to see it while it's wet. I'll pull it up to the camera here. You can see the red right now, but as it dries, let's see, I'll stand up so make sure, see if you can see, it will have more brown effects. So I am going to set that off to the side to dry. So that I'd show you that, so that if you didn't have the color, especially brown, you know, colors that don't complement each other can make mud, right? All right, we'll put that away. And then we're going to move on. So for my tunnel card, which I got the instructions from, this is off of a Jennifer McGuire video. What I have here, oh, first here, I wanted to show you, this is the card I shared yesterday on the blog. This is the dies. The hello is from my stash, but this is what the dies can be like. So here you can see where that brown came from. I mean, there's a little bit of red, but it's mostly brown. And I accidentally touched a little bit of the green to my cardinal, so I have a little dirty face, but I figured I'd just go with it. But we're going to do something similar tonight with this. And the details are this on the Bruce Monroe blog. And the link is, I think I shared the link on the fan club page. But if you go to the Facebook page or the store and go to the bottom, I think, or type in Bruce Monroe blog, it will come up and you can find it. All right, so I have two pieces of paper here. Well, I have multiple pieces of paper here. I cut down, this is just 80-pound cardstock because it's going to have layers, so it doesn't need to be super thick. So this is just an 8.5 by 11 cut in half, so that I have that. And so my first piece, we're just going to do like normal. Score it at 4 1/4. I'll set that aside for right now. And then for this one, the second piece, we're actually going to score it in 3 spots. We're going to score it at 1/2 inch. And I like to go really slow in a couple times so I don't get out of the groove. And then at 4 1/4. And then the last one is 4 3/4. You can do this with regular, heavyweight cardstock. I just, because of the layers, I thought I'd go with a little bit lighter cardstock this time. And then we'll put this away. We're not going to do a ton of stamping tonight, but we'll do a little just with the sentiments. And then I want to get my good bone folder out here. And I'm just going to go ahead and fold and reinforce my folds. And then one more here. So this is going to be the inside of our card. And I did pre-do one, so we won't have to die cut out. But now, and I'll show you that in a minute. And then for our card base, we're going to fold it in half, obviously on the score line, reinforce the fold. And then the key to this is you take your card, and you have with the fold on this on the left, you're going to put this in your trimmer, and you're going to trim off 1/2 inch. So we're going to go to 4 3/4, and we're going to trim off 1/2 inch. So the back of our card is going to have that, because then when we go to put it together, it's going to be attached and it will fold nicely. So I am going to put this one aside because I already have everything else with tape on it ready to go. Ooh. Hi, puppy. My puppy's in with us tonight. He came in before I shut the door to lay down. Oh, hold on one second. Somebody wants to escape. Puppy decided to leave the craft room. Okay, so we're going to do a little bit of stuff on it before I actually attach it. I did go ahead and cut this out. This is the piece that I showed you with the 1/2 inch, the 4 1/4 and 4 3/4. And I just took a circle die cut, one of the foundation dies, and cut it out in the middle. Yeah, Fletch, yeah, he's had a busy day. He's had 3 walks today, and before dinner, Haley and I took him outside and played frisbee and wore him out, so he is tired. But this is going to be the inside of our card. We need to do the back side, which is kind of what that other piece was for. And then I thought we need to, before I attach this, stamp a sentiment on here. Well, we're going to use the cardinal, and I was kind of on the fence of what I wanted to use. And I decided to pull out the poinsettia builder. And I'm going to grab the Warm Wishes, which these all have coordinating dies. Yeah, here it is right here, but I'm not going to cut it out this time. I'm going to we're just going to stamp it directly on our card base. So I am going to use, instead of my mini Misty, because this is a longer piece, I'm going to use my regular Misty. We're going to get this in here. And make sure we do it the right direction, correct? All right. Eyeball that a little bit. See how that looks. It looks straight from here. And then I am going to stamp this in the Raven Detail ink. I decided not to do anything directly to the front of the card. I thought that's why we did that panel with the chroma glaze, because then that way we can attach it directly to the card front and not have to worry so much about if it warps or anything. And my ink pad needs to be re-inked. I should probably get my new one out, but we'll just stamp it a few times. That's the beauty of the Misty, right? I love the font on this. It's just pretty. So we got Warm Wishes. And I'm going to go ahead and just wipe that down quick and pull it out. I just use a microfiber cloth. Throw that on here. Put that away and get that out of our direction. Haven't colored these images up yet, and Christmas is over, but I'm going to start working on cards for next year because I really love that. And then for our front panel, we're going to actually die cut it out on something else. So let's start working on, see if we can work on our card. I may need to speed along our background. All right, so let's see how it's looking. It's still pretty wet, So I think what I'm going to do quick here is we're going to add, so we're going to put this behind. I want to add just a little bit of snow. So I'm going to take a little bit of the shimmer mist, and I'm going to just kind of, before we dry this, and I'm just going to, oop, we got big drops. Ooh, we got big drops. Got lots of big drops. Okay, we're going to grab some of that. And we'll do some flicking. Some of it's not going to be seen because it's covered. Oh, this is not the right paintbrush for that. Let's see here. Let's grab a block. Put it on a block. I didn't want to water it down because I don't want it to be... I just want a few little shimmery splakes in the background. And like I said, a lot of this is going to be covered. So it's just to add a little bit of interest back there. And I will do a little spray too. But I wanted a little more control. This is a little bit more controlled than just spritzing it on because it's a thicker. You could use the aqua pigment pearl too, but the shimmer mist is a little bit more sparkly and white than the pearl. In my opinion, I guess I should say. All right. I'm just going to wipe that off a little bit. I don't want to soak my paintbrush. Wipe it off a little bit here. And then I'm going to go ahead and grab, I have some shimmer spray here, and this is in a gold. It's just, Thermoweb sells this, and I'm just going to quick spritz it, and it just gives a little bit of extra sparkle. Okay. Next, I'm going to quick grab my heat tool because we need to dry this a little bit, so that I can attach it, and I need to get it dry. So does anyone have any good New Year's, fun New Year's plans? We are staying home. I'm going to watch the Hawkeyes during the day, and probably just some movies on TV. I'm just going to try to dry those big splotches here. Like I said, this is the background, and a lot of it's going to get covered up. So we don't need, I might even squish some of that pearl down. The only thing I think for sure I'm going to make is when I make some fried pickles for New Year's Eve. That's one of my favorite things, and I have some homemade pickles to use up. And then Haley and I are thinking of making some adult beverages. All right, so this is, it doesn't matter how crinkly this really is because we're not going to use a whole lot of it. I'm actually going to cut this down because we don't need the whole thing and we need it to be able to fit. So I'm going to go ahead and just cut it down. I'm not even going to worry too much about, I'm just going to look and see, probably about right there. And then because on the background here, I'm going to use some double-sided tape here quick. I don't know if I have any other, I just have this stuff here on my desk. I'm just going to use this because I want it to stay flat. And it's going to go in the back. Like I said, this is just our day sky. Oh, yeah, that's, we're in a small enough town. We won't have any fireworks. It'll be interesting to see how my dog thinks of that one. I think he'll be okay if he's inside. Hi, Lynette. How are you? We are making a tunnel card using the die of the month for December and a bunch of aqua pigments. I used a couple aqua pigments and some chroma mists for color. So I've got pearl all over me because I didn't dry that all the way. So I'm going to quick wipe that up. What did I just drop on the floor? I'm always aware of what I drop anymore. case with the puppies. So this background, we just did some ink smushing, and we're going to go ahead and put this in. I'm going to make sure I'm going to put it up, right up to the edge of the score line, but a little bit off. And it looks like it's a little long, so we'll chop it off, which is fine. I'll go ahead and chop that in the trimmer. Yeah, we have some that do, you know, but I live just a few blocks from the river, and they're literally, they changed for like 4th of July, they changed them, so they're literally across like a block and a half from us now, so I don't have to leave my yard. So there's our background. Okay, so we're going to start kind of putting this together, but I think what I'm going to do first is we're going to put it on the card base. So here's my card base, and remember, this is just a regular A2 card base that we took a half an inch off, and then I put some score tape on the back, and we're going to go ahead and put this down. Donna, my puppy is only a few months old, so we got him in October, and so he is not super old yet, so we haven't had all those experiences. I use some double-sided tape because I don't know if liquid glue will take too long to dry, and I want to make sure that I can put this together. So I'm just going to butt this up against the score line, and not 100%, you know, I don't want to cover that score line because I don't want to have, so then see, when we go to put this together, which I know it looks kind of right now, I hope I did that right. I think I did that. Yes, I did do that right. It will look like this. Okay. So about 6 months older than Fletch. And now, before we attach this, we want to add our pieces in here, and this is what we're going to use with liquid glue. So I have them all die cut ahead of time. Here's that branch I told you where I used the red and the green to make brown. So there's a little bit more red on the edges of the branches on this one than on the one I used base, but I thought this would work, and I'm just going to attach it in here, and we might have to. Oh, thank you, Lynette. This is I took the design from Jennifer McGuire. She had the measurements on her. When I saw this, when I made my card the other day, I thought, oh, a tunnel card would be really fun with this. So we're going to need to cut some of these pieces off, and you have your decision of how you want to do this. You can tuck it all 100% behind, or you can put some of it ahead, like over here. So I am going to go ahead and cut this off at about right. I'm going to cut this piece off here, and then I am going to let it overlap to the front a little bit. So we're going to cut it off right here. And then I'm going to add, if I can find my liquid glue. I have only made 2 tunnel cards before in my life. I made one for my daughter a couple years ago for her birthday. It was a interactive card with Pennywise and some balloons. And then I made another one, but I never finished the front. I only started it, but I didn't finish it. So I'm going to just hold that in place for a minute. Let's see, these are absolute. Oh, Deb, well, thank you for joining us tonight. I appreciate it. We usually go live on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Shannon usually goes live on Fridays. We are changing to the next year for the design team. So this is the last post for 2022 for me for the design team. I did reapply, and I am on the team for next year, but we haven't got our schedule up for next month. So, but welcome, we're a fun group. I appreciate the like and the subscription. That's awesome. So I've just got these old tweezers to hold us in place, and then I think I am going to add just a little bit of glue under here. Just to, because we might need to cut a little bit of that branch off so it doesn't impede the design. So you kind of want to put your design a little bit together before you attach it all behind together, or you might have, so that way you can get underneath if you need to. So I'm going to go ahead and snip that little bit off right here. So we got our branch, and then I did go ahead and cut my cardinal and put it out together. Thanks, Tia. The back of my cardinal base, this is a 3-piece die. This is just black card scrap. And then, to be honest with you, this is aqua pigment paper. I had a piece I started a project with, that's coming up, and I made 2 pieces. This is with the Neon Glow Pink Chroma Mist and a little bit of pearl. And I originally cut the cardinal out of it, thinking I'd go completely different, and I decided I needed red. So after I did, I spray painted it with the candy apple red, and that gave it that really deep red with the white, or with the pink background. And then I used the tangerine orange for the beak. So he's going to go on here, but I think before we decide, and we might have to attach him somewhat to the side here, so that, because he's heavy, to make sure he doesn't fall back underneath. But we'll worry about that later. First, we got to do some decorations. So here are, I have a bunch of the pine needles cut out. I have a ton, so I figured we could do however many we wanted. And then I do have the pine cones, which this is using this is using the acorn and the cider chroma mist that I got at an event. But you could use watercolor, Copic markers, ink blend it, or you could use, like I said, a mixture of the red and greens to make these, but I don't know if we're going to use those for sure. And then I have a bunch of the snow peaks, and these are just sprayed, or these aren't sprayed with shimmer mist, these are just painted with the pearl after I die cut them out. Sorry, I was just checking. It looked like my tablet was... And I don't know for sure if we're going to use these or not. We may or may not. So let's go ahead and put some of these needles in. I love that when I saw this die, when I told us what was coming up, I was super excited because I love layered dies. I'm kind of just getting into them. And they're fun to play with. And then the different things you can do with them, like these pine needles can be used all year round. They won't have to just be used at Christmas. Let's see here. That one might be a little too big for right there. So let's stick that in here. You know, you could use these as for Christmas cards, but you could also just use them for pine winter, for some filler and a leaf. And we're going to just add a bunch of them. And this might not dry perfectly while we're on live, but that's kind of the thing with lives. And then I think you don't want to add too much dimension to the top part because of the folds. So we'll add a couple of these here. Otherwise they might add a little too much bulk. And then I think we'll add one more pine needle here to this side, and then we'll get our cardinal going on here. And I'm going to secure a little bit more. I may, after the live, secure a couple more places with some glue just to be safe, but so I can hold it down. Let's see if I can get that in here. These are really old tweezers. I've had these for a long time, probably since I started crafting. They're not really reverse tweezers, but they like the other kinds that everyone uses, but I figured they work. All right, so we've got that. I don't know if we should add some snow. I don't know if we're going to see a lot of it. I have the branch going the opposite way than that's on the design. If you see, the design has it going this way. So I flip-flopped that. Maybe we'll add a little... this one on here. What do you guys think? We'll add a little bit of the snow since it says warm wishes. I'm going to tuck it underneath. I hope that doesn't look too silly, but maybe that'll add a little dimension to that the leaves are on the top. And that doesn't look right that way. Sorry about that. Let's take that one off. That doesn't look right that way. Let's put it in here. Because it's it's opposite, it fits on it this way, but I have it upside down because that way you can see different ways. We'll tuck it in over on this side. Add a little bit of snow to that. That's one of my favorite things about winter is, there's two of my favorite things about winter, is when there's a fresh snowfall and all the branches still have a little snow on them. And when it's so cold that they frost and they kind of poof out. Does that make sense? Do you guys understand what I mean when it poofs? I say it poofs out. They crystallize. All the branches crystallize, and you look at them and you're like, "Is that snow?" And then you're like, "No, it's like crystallized trees." I'm gonna add that like that, and then let's get our cardinal added in here. We got a little bit more of the green on here, so that should help. If I have to cut a little bit of the cardinal off, I will. Let's try to get him. He's going to sit on this cold branch. I'm going to push him up from behind. And then we're going to let that kind of sit dry just a little bit. I think I got to put some tweezers on there to hold that dry together. Let's open that up. Ah, there we go. Open it up. And I'll put a block here on it to kind of hold that and dry. Okay, so we got that. So the front of our card is getting there dry. It's still a little bit wet, so I'm going to quick hit it with a heat tool. Like I said, I used 80-pound cardstock for the two bases, but I did use, this is more of a 110-pound cardstock, and this is at 4 5 1/4. Because it was already cut to 4, it was just a scrap piece. But let's dry this up a little bit. I did a thin layer, but we want to make sure I don't get any fingerprints on it. I love this. This is the Pearl Chroma Glaze. You could use embossing powder, the alabaster embossing powder, or a clear embossing powder to get the same look if you wanted to, if you didn't want to use glaze. The Ice School embossing powder is one of my favorite Bruce Monroe embossing powders. I use that a lot. I just dropped it. I'm just going to hit this a little bit. And then we're going to, hopefully it'll be dry enough that we'll be very careful when we put it together. Okay. All right, let's set that off to the side for a second and check on our piece. All right, I think I'm going to put the card front together before I actually attach this, so that I'm not dealing with all of that. And look at all these extra pieces we have. I have some, not sure what's going on here. There we go. I have some of the bare lot hollies cut out, and I thought we'd use that for the front of the card too. So I'm going to go ahead and open this up so we can work on the front. And then, like I said, this is a little bit smaller. I think I need to cut it down just a hair off the side. So I'm going to do that just a little bit. Hopefully we won't mess it up too badly here. Try to hold that piece up and get a straight cut and cut off just a hair. Okay, there we go. Hope I cut that straight. Let's see. It looks pretty good. All right, yeah, it is fairly dry. There's a couple wet spots. All right, I'm going to go ahead and add some tape to this too. I'm going to do this very gently. I normally like to try to get this stuff done ahead of time so it's dry through the magic of, but I changed my mind of how I wanted to do the front at the last minute. I was going to ink blend. So like I said, I'm hope everyone has a great rest of the year. There's only a few more days left. It's almost the end of it's tomorrow's Friday. So that's fun too. It's been a very fast week here. I think because we had so much snow last week, we were closed on Thursday and Friday due to the amount of snow and the blow and the wind, that the week just kind of flew by. I couldn't believe that today was Thursday. And then, you know, that beautiful weather we got today. I was like, you know, I love snow for Christmas, but I was like, I can be done with snow and just have this weather the rest of till May. All right, so there's our front. And I'm just going to gently touch this down, try to touch it down where I don't have any glaze, and I'll push it in really well after it's dry really well. Okay, so there's the front of our card. So far. This is now where I thought I didn't know what I wanted to do. I was going to pull out a die, and I'm still thinking about doing that. We did warm wishes on the inside, so I was going to grab the Christopher sentiments, which are some of my favorites, and I thought maybe it'd be fun to die cut this out quick of some white and maybe quickly paint it. I don't think I'm going to use this. I think I'm just going to use the regular. Actually, that's not true. Yes, I'm just going to use the word, and I'm going to cut this out quick with my die cut machine. Cut that down so I can use my little mini cutter. So did people get some good, fun, crafty goodies for Christmas? Or are there's a fabulous sale going on right now over on Brutus Monroe. The clearance sale goes through tomorrow, I believe. That's some really good stuff on sale. So make sure you guys stop over there and check that out. I will try to put links to all of the products tomorrow. I will try to link them to all the products that I used tonight in the store. I was going to do some of it earlier today and time got away from me. But I will do that. So if you're looking for something specific, I will have it all linked. Oh, thank you. I actually won that cutter. It's from a company in England. I'm not sure. There's a couple places in China, and I have the Sizzix one as well. Is it the Sizzix one? The mini, but I won this one from, and I just leave it on my desk, and it works really well. So I wanted to paint this, I thought, and I thought maybe we'd do this in that Chroma Mist red, but I don't know if I wanted to do that. So I thought what I would do is one of my favorite techniques is I'm just going to take the embossing powder, and I'm going to go ahead and I like to do this directly on my glass mat because that's easier to clean up than a piece of paper. And then I'm going to grab, I have a specific, I like the tweezers I have right here, and I'm going to quickly wipe this off, and I'm going to grab the Christmas Eve embossing powder. I need a piece of paper. This is a piece of paper from something else. I like a mini die cutting machine is always really nice to have sometimes when you're traveling, and I like to use it when I'm at my desk, especially for my lives, because then I can, you know, if I need to do the big pieces, but I can use it at my desk. So, all right, so I'm just going to cover that quick, and then I'm going to heat emboss this. So a little pop of color. I'm going to try to do it on camera, but it's kind of hard to see where this melts, so I have to apologize. I might move off camera for a minute. I love this trick for dies because it gives them a kind of a fun a fun thick embossed, not embossed, shellacked kind of look. Okay, so we've got one, but I like to do this multiple times. So I'm gonna go ahead and do it one more time off to the side here. Usually I do it 3 times. I might just do it twice tonight. And then I just take it in another spot and I just drag it in again. It doesn't matter if it gets on the back at all because nobody's going to see that. Some dies are easier to, if you can hold them like here, then you won't. But a lot of times I just try to hold it in another spot so that I don't get little lines in the wording. Or I try to heat emboss one section. Give it just a second to cool, and then I move my tweezers over to that section. Trying to be very careful so I don't accidentally heat emboss all of that pile of powder on my desk. And there we go. We've got this beautiful little fun hugs die that is just going to be super sparkly. And then we'll go ahead and put this in. And then I usually shake my extra off over my garbage can. Cover that up. Oh, I have glitter on me. The Christmas Eve has a little bit of gold glitter in it. So that is the front of our card. So I think we're going to finish that before we finish finalize putting it together. I'm going to make sure my desk is super clean here so I don't get water or get marks on the inside of my card. So I'm going to move a few things. That's the one thing that's hard about a black mat is that you can't always tell if there's stuff there. So first I'm going to use a Swiffer cloth, which is one of my favorite ways to pick up embossing, stray embossing powder and glitter. I'm not gonna lie, a lot of times it ends up going on the floor anyway. And then I'm gonna use my cinnamon squeaky clean to spray, and my Brutus Monroe microfiber towel to wipe it up. Make sure it's nice and clean. All right, now let's see if we can finish putting our card together. We've got our hug sentiment. I'm going to go ahead and put some liquid glue on the back of this. And then I die cut out the holly and the berries, also from the die of the month. And I thought that would be fun on the front of the card. Even though it's not really a Christmas card because we got winter, holly and berries are synonymous with winter as well, because that's when we see it. You know, some people leave their holly and berry leaves up all night, you know, if you have a wreath or something. Get that glue off. All right. And I am horrible at straight lines. Lynette, I do not always clean up as I go, but when I make a mess with ink, I do, especially if I'm going to put stuff on like this. No, trust me, I will not clean up my desk till tomorrow. I usually have a huge mess, and if I'm crafting on the weekends, very rarely do I clean in between projects. I will just leave it when I'm done, and then later that night maybe come back and clean. Or if I'm making a huge mess, I clean up and then move on. But I mean, there's so much stuff on my desk. I have about a 12-inch by 12-inch square here clean. So we'll let that dry for a minute, and let's pull out our holly and berry. I did the same thing with these as I did with the other. I sprayed it with the leaf green and the noble fir. Want to make sure I have both leaves because there's a couple different leaves here. And I'm going to use all 3 of the leaves because they're all different. I think this was the 3rd one because it's a smaller leaf. Yes. And then I have some berries here that I don't know if I cut the other berries out. I didn't. I just used this. And I think maybe we'll quick This is the Candy Apple Chroma Mist with a little pearl, but I think I might put the embossing powder on this quick too. What do you guys think? That sounds good? All right, let's get these out of the way. And I thought maybe we'd just put a little bit. I don't know where I want this. Maybe just under the, just do it with the G here. And you know, sometimes when I don't know what I want to do, I look at the die it came with. So this, we're going to kind of do it, maybe we will do it up. We'll do it up here. We'll tuck it in under the G. All right, I will use the embossing powder, Donna. That's what I thought. I was thinking about it, getting out some like glitter glaze or something like that. And I thought, no, I have that sitting right there. So we're going to go ahead and stick these down first. And I'm just going to tuck them right under the G. And then we'll embossing powder those berries. There are this big cluster of berries, and then there's a set of 3 berries, and then there's some individual berries. So you have your options of what you want to use. Which is very nice to have choices when it comes to dies. You know, sometimes maybe you just want to do 3 specific berries for your holly, and you want to be able to put them in a specific spot. Or in this case, I have the cluster cut out and ready to go, and that's what we're going to use, which is nice. So these have the little bit of that pearl embossing powder on them, or pearl, I'm sorry, shimmer mist on that. I always do a light spray with it, but I do want to make sure, because for me, I have better luck if you shake it kind of the side or roll it and kind of do this versus up and down, so I don't get a big bunch of the shimmer up in the inside. Does that make sense of the spray? I feel like I've had better results if I shake it side to side, or like I said, roll it. Okay, so we're gonna do the same thing. We're just gonna push this into the ink pad, to the embossing ink, and oh, there was an extra piece in there. I'm gonna take this and just dip it in, and I don't know if it has to be perfect, because berries aren't perfect in nature. You know, you get some squished ones. I'm going to cover that up right away, because I think I'm just going to do 1 coat. We'll quick heat set this. And I'm going to move my tweezers around just a little bit, make sure I get the whole area. And then we'll get this put down on here as well. I think we're going to do it just like that. Not a lot of dimension in this card this time. I mean, like thickness dimension, but a lot of dimension from the different, from the glaze, the embossing powder, the sprays, and then of course the tunnel card itself. So we are almost ready. We're going to put this together, and then we will be done. All right, so if I remember correctly, what we do is, yes, if I remember correctly, it's been a while since I've actually put one of these together. So hopefully we will do that right. I'm going to take the double-sided stick tape over, and I'm going to fold it over, which I did reinforce that before. And I'm going to fold the card over and match up the score line at the top and the, nope, I didn't quite do that right. I don't, wait, here. Yes, so I'm gonna, sorry about that. I'm gonna match up, see how the edge of this is gonna go right here with the score line, and I'm going to push my card base up against it. I know there's probably a better way to explain that, but it's been a while since, like I said, I made one of these. And then we've got our card. Now I may have to do some fussy cutting here on this because it looks like it's in our way, which is fine. I'm gonna glue that down a little bit more after our live here. And then I'm going to, the first couple times you fold it, it might be kind of funky because you need to get it used to it. But, so here's the card. We've got the front of our card. And then when we go to open it, here's our inside. And I'm going to show it from the top so you kind of see when you look. So I am going to glue this a little bit flat. I'll do that off camera here a little bit. So, and then it will just fold flat and it will fit. This is a normal A2 size card, so it fits in a regular envelope. So I hope, oh, thanks Tia. I hope you guys enjoyed crafting along with me. I appreciate all of you, everyone who's been liking, thumbs upping, following along. Lives for me, I started earlier this year, are new, and I hope to continue to do them in the new year. And don't forget to please, subscribe, like, go over to the shop and buy something. Oh, thank you guys so much. Oh, you're welcome. One thing I wanted to say is that you can make multiple tunnels. I did not. And like, here's a piece that I folded it wrong. This is just a normal and it's scored at half, and you could put that in on the inside so you could have multiple layers, but I only wanted one layer. But no, please make sure you go over to the store, check out the sale, have a great New Year's, and don't forget to create something every day. Thank you guys. Have a good night. Bye.